Hey there, YouTubies! So, for those who watch my videos, you know that I've installed a 43 tooth rear sprocket to go along with the 15 tooth sprocket I had in front already. Stock sprocket sizes 14, 42, 14 front, 42 rear. So, I want to make a note here, a little caveat, and you know, I've learned some stuff since the couple days it's been. But here's the thing, if you have stock gearing already and you want to get the same final drive ratio that I have, all you need to do is add a 40 tooth sprocket in the rear. You don't need to go with a 15 front and 43 rear like I have. The only reason I'm doing that is because I already put the 15 in the front. It lengthened my first gear, which was nice. It made all the gearing a little bit tall, and I didn't want it quite so tall, so I added the 43 and it fixed it right up. And it also fixed up the speedometer accuracy. It's very accurate now. So, if you have stock gearing and you want to get the same drive ratio as me and you want to keep your stock chain or reuse it, just add a 40 in the rear, but go with a nice Vortex sprocket, you know, an aluminum sprocket, and you'll save a lot of weight. And that weight savings is unsprung weight. Anytime you remove unsprung weight or you reduce it, you're going to get better performance, because wheels have something called rotational mass, and when you reduce unsprung mass, unsprung weight, you get better performance because the wheel can turn more easily, there's less rotational mass, and the best type of weight that you can remove from a bike is unsprung weight, bar none. This is why lighter wheels make such a dramatic difference on a bike, or even lighter tires or lighter sprockets. So you have two benefits. You have gearing benefit and you have a weight reduction benefit. Now if you change your sprocket and your sprocket is worn down and all that stuff, or your chain is worn down, sorry, then changing your chain is a good idea. So you can see, first gear is still plenty long with this bike, the way I have it. And yet the gearing isn't quite so tall, and you get good roll-on performance. Passing people, coming out of turns, whatever. It retains a lot of it's the best of both worlds, basically. So where I'm going right now is I'm going to Ken & Joe's Honda Kawasaki to get some replacement nuts for the sprocket, because one of them stripped. I ordered 2 stock nuts, and the reason is I want the exact same weight for all the nuts. I don't want the Home Depot special, which weighs more than stock, mixed in with the stock nuts, because you're going to have weight issues and it's not ideal. Keep in mind what I said about the fact that you can just go to a 40 rear if you don't already have the 15. And you can stick with a stock chain, because it's considerably more expensive. Like, a lot of you have already gone with the 15 tooth front, and that's awesome. And you can decide for yourself whether you want to put the 14 back on and go with a 40 rear, or add a 43 and go with a bigger chain. Now there's advantages to going with an aftermarket chain, I'm assuming. One, it's a new chain and new sprocket. That's the ideal combination. You get them both new and they wear together. The aftermarket chain might have some other benefits. Maybe a little stronger. You can customize a bit. Gave that guy a little warning. But if you just want to stick with the stock chain, just go to a 40 and you're good to go. And lighter sprocket will reduce unsprung weight, and you are especially good to go. Now I think I can feel the weight reduction in that Vortex rear sprocket. I can feel it in the sense that the bike is just, it accelerates more quickly and it just feels better, you know, it feels like it's faster. Gearing is part of that, weight is part of that. If you were to ride a bike with carbon fiber wheels, that'd be a big reduction in unsprung weight and rotational mass. And someone's making a completely ponderous turn, as people are wont to do around here. If you were to ride a bike with carbon fiber wheels, you would notice a big difference in how that bike handles. And the same principle applies when you reduce weight in a sprocket. Now, as for the sprockets, the stock sprocket weighs 28.8 ounces, which is almost 2 pounds, 16 ounces per pound. You should have learned that in high school math or earlier. And my Vortex sprocket weighs 14.4 ounces, less than a pound. So there's almost exactly a pound difference between the two. Yeah, I actually took the stock sprocket to UPS, had them weigh it for me. What's shaking? Hey man, would you do me a huge favor? So much. I just want to weigh this sprocket. I got a nice clean towel for you. I'm doing a scientific test.
I'm open. No.
Yay! Frisbee.
1.80.
Pounds? No, tons.
1 pound, 80 ounces, basically.
Wait, 1.8, 1 pound, 8 ounces?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
80.
80?
8.80.
1.80.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. 80 ounces is how many pounds? All right, 1.80. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm comparing this versus the new sprocket I got, which is way lighter. All right, well, thank you so much for that.
No problem.
And they were happy to oblige. So the bike's pretty good now. All I have to do is add the SSR preload caps that I have on order. And then I'll be able to adjust the front suspension a little bit. So that'll be good. Okay, there's Ken and Joe's Honda Kawasaki. So yeah, I got the nuts I needed for the rear sprocket. The stock mirrors on this bike aren't very good, man. See a lot of elbows. But I'm gonna get new mirrors at some point. So quick MOTOVLOGGER shout out. New vlogger, doesn't have a lot of subs, should have a lot more, great content. MotoXO, go check him out. Watch his Batman video first, it's funny. He does a really good Batman impression, and he's angry at the UPS office, so he goes down there and it's pretty funny. MotoXO is good because, you know, he's an experienced rider. Seems like a mature rider. Good content, good quality. It's always important. And he rides a VFR, which is kind of a cool bike. So check him out. Subscribe to him. Watch his vids. Tell him SpacePod sent ya. And I'll be doing more shoutouts like this over time for the smaller vloggers. You know, like under 100 subs or so. And last I checked, Moto XO only had, he had under 10 subs. So let's change that, eh? Okay, so I'm gonna do sort of a low speed test and see how it compares to the 15 tooth. Because remember, I had the 15 tooth on with the 42 in the back. First gear still feels reasonably long, but the other gearing feels really good too, so definitely a good balance. And the reduction in unsprung weight is a welcome improvement. Yeah, so you're saving a pound, and when you have rotational mass, that pound turns into a lot more than a pound as the wheel spins. Long-term update, the EBC brakes, the brake pads I should say, are doing great. Sintered metal, they're awesome. It allows you to stop just with the front brake instead of having to use the front and the rear. The Yosh is doing great, sounds awesome. It's got a nice rumble to it. New chain seems to be doing pretty good, nice and quiet. Not that I hear a whole lot anyway, I'm rather deaf-ish. You know, even if you go with the stock gearing, like let's say you just went with a 42 rear sprocket, just like stock, the weight savings alone is pretty awesome. The weight savings alone is a big deal. And combine that with good gearing, and you are in business. The other nice thing about this gear ratio is that you don't always need to rev the piss out of it to get your power. You get a little bit more accessible power down low. So instead of relying on 7K, 8K, you can start rolling on at 6K. And it spools up nice and quickly. It's pretty ideal.
Here we go, spacebar dealing inches. That next, Mr. Sparky Aprilia, and I'm going to put, this is all going to be Motovlogger decals, eh? I'm going to put one of my Baker X Derek's that I made for him, put it here, unless he has a different one. And the Fobra, I know you have stickers, we need to switch stickers. Some of you vloggers I don't watch yet, the ones that Mr. Sparky has. Baron Von Grumble, if you see this, I want to trade stickers with you, eh? And I made this sticker. This is for Gabriel Iglesias, the comedian, Fluffy. I made that. Believe it or not, huh?